Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I've done a recreation of a face chart by someone on Instagram called Milk1422. I saw this face chart that he did and it was really bright and colourful and it really inspired me to have a go at recreating it myself. So I started off by priming my face using a pore smoothing primer just so that it kind of filled in any pores or fine lines so that I had a nice smooth base to work with. Then I went in with some concealer and just concealed the dark circles underneath my eyes. After that I went in with some foundation. This one was quite a full coverage one, just that it gave me a nice flawless base. Then I went in with some lighter concealer to highlight the high points of my face. So I took that under the eyes, on the forehead, the nose and the chin and just buffed that in again using a damp beauty sponge. To set those concealed areas, I then took my Ben Nye Cameo powder as always and used that to bake just so that it prevented creasing and also prevented any oiliness coming through as well because I wanted the base to be quite matte. Then I went into my brows and I actually used the soap method for this. So I got some sort of like soapy froth on a spoolie and then I just brushed all of my brow hairs upwards, because on the face chart it had a more kind of feathery brow. Then I went in and did a base highlight, so I took a liquid highlighter and just bounced that in onto my cheekbones using my beauty sponge, and then I set that down using a pretty blinding highlight because I wanted this area to be like really glowy. To set the rest of my face, I took a mattifying powder and just buffed that in all over the areas where I didn't already powder. Then I went into contouring, so I took my usual contour shades and took that under the cheekbones, across the top of my forehead, and I contoured my nose as well. In the image it had quite a heavily contoured nose, so I did go in a little bit sort of harder than I would normally do with my nose contour. For blush, I took a mix of a neutral shade and a brighter colour, and then I went in and highlighted my nose as well, just using a really tiny little brush. Back into the brows, I took a ultrafine brow pencil and sort of flicked this upwards and outwards to create like individual hair strokes. And then I went in with a volumizing gel and brushed this through again to give a bit more texture to the brows, but it also helped to make them look a bit more feathery as well. I just went in and cleaned up underneath the brows with a little bit of concealer. And then I set down my eyelid using some translucent powder. Jumping into the fun bit, so I took a mix of a pink and a red and I took this like just underneath the front of the brow and kind of buffed that down a little bit in towards the crease. I wasn't really too concerned about being neat within this one because it is obviously more of like an abstract look. Then I took a dark purple, packed that onto the outer corner and blended it up towards the tail of the brow. And I also started to drag that round the outer edge of my eye. I took a slightly brighter purple just to blend out the edges of those ones, but also to make it obviously just a bit more bright. And then I took an orangey shade and used that to connect the pink and the purple just in my crease. Over my lid, I took a mix of these two yellow shades and I literally just packed that on all over, except for on the outer corner because obviously I wanted that purple to come through. And then to kind of join the yellow and the purple together, I took a little bit of a lime green shade and just kind of blended those two together. For the inner corner, I took a like mint greeny blue shade and kind of popped that in the inner corner and then began to drag that down underneath the eye as well. Then I went back into the bright purple, started to layer that along my lower lash line and then dragged it down over my cheek, almost as if it was kind of like a tear sort of shape. Then I went into blue, did the same thing again, just packed that along the centre of my lower lash line and then began to drag that down into a point next to the purple. Then I went into the green and did the exact same thing, but obviously just further towards the inner corner of my eye. Then I went in with the darker purple and kind of used that in the middle of the like purple drip just to give it a bit of depth. And then I went back into the mint shade, just popped a little bit of that above the arch of my brow, and then I used a little bit of the green across the tail of my brow. Jumping into some cream colours, I took the purple and used it to create like a dripping effect. So I took that underneath the brow and then I also took it into the purple underneath. Jumping into the blue, did the same thing again under the eye, just kind of created a few little like wiggly lines as if it was dripping. Same with the green as well. I found that doing this with the cream colours just made it look a little bit more intense and like it was sort of bleeding from those areas. Then I went into a lime green liquid liner and kind of feathered that through the brows as if a few of the brow hairs were that colour, and then into the white. So I did the same thing throughout the brows with the white liner, but I also took it just sort of on random areas across the eye, in the crease and up towards the brow, so it creates like a highlighted effect, so it looks like there's intense light sort of shining on those areas. Did the same underneath the brow as well, just kind of took it in a little line down across under the eye as if it was highlighted. Then I took a black kohl pencil and I lined my entire eye with this one. So I took it along the top lash line, into the waterline and into my tight line as well. And then I took a black eyeshadow, used that to set that in place, but also to smudge it out a little bit as well so it wasn't so neat. Then I took a pink iridescent shade and used that just to highlight the top of my lip to take a bit more colour across the rest of the face. And then I just used a blue as well to create a shadow underneath my lower lip. Then I just went in with some mascara, gave my lashes a really good coat. I wasn't too worried about being too neat with this because any kind of little marks that got on the eyelid actually kind of helped and added to the effect. Then I took a pair of like wispy lashes that were kind of like clumpy as well, and I just popped those on. Going back into the lips, I lined using a grey toned pencil, and I kind of started to flick the outer corners of my lips upwards as well, going in with a black liquid lipstick, and again I just kind of filled them in and then took a really tiny little lip brush and used that to flick the corners of my lips upwards. So I went back in with the white liquid liner and used that on my nose just to kind of give a few more like highlighted points, and I also took that in the Cupid's bow as well. Then back onto the lips, I took a blue eyeshadow and kind of packed that on my lower lip. And then I took a green and packed that into the centre of the lip. And then I went in with some purple and kind of put that on the top lip as well. Then I went back into my white liner and used that to highlight various points of the lips as well, just so that it looks like there's more kind of light shining on those areas. And then that was that one done. I really hope you enjoyed this one. Obviously it was a little bit different, more kind of artsy compared to normal. But if you did like it, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Leave me any suggestions of future videos in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.